Hello Transformers fans, my name is Anthony Seguito and welcome to another behind-the-scenes documentary for my animated short Megatron Transformed.
Behold, Galvatron.
This project started early in 2008 and didn't finish until late of 2010. It really should have only taken about 6 months to complete, but due to Murphy's Law, everything went wrong from software crash to hardware crash. And when I mean hardware, I mean losing all of my data from my hard drive, including photos, documents, and so forth, other videos that I was hoping to work on. I actually had to shoot scenes more than 2 to 3 times just to finish the job. What you're seeing here is footage from the Transformers 1986 movie, and comparing it to my video, you can actually already see the parts that are missing, and I actually filmed all of that. The moving spikes that are on the floor, the little orbs transporting through the tubes, the gears that are shifting around, all of that was actually created, but the animated footage of it was all lost due to hard drive failure. Before I even got a real green screen and familiarized myself with the animation softwares, I would use the polygonal lasso tool in Photoshop and inch my way around an entire figure, going around every possible corner and curved edge. And then I would crop out the entire green background. I didn't even have a real green screen, it was green cardboard. After cropping the background out, I would isolate that image and then do the same for the remaining thousands of other images that I would take. This was the only method of animation I knew at the time. It would take hours to do just a few seconds of animation. And since I wanted everything to look smooth, I would take hundreds of photos per scene just to make sure that every bit of animation was nice and crisp. But after saving some cash, I was able to afford a legitimate green screen and pick myself up a few good animation softwares, and now I'm able to create scenes at a much faster rate. Like my previous animations, I wanted to keep a Generation 1 feel. I really didn't want to use any of the current classics, Henkei, Generation, or United figures that are currently available. And since I was running on a tight budget, a Photoshop custom seemed appropriate. I would take the Generation 1 bombshell and use the back of his legs for the front. Combining that with Masterpiece Optimus Prime's right forearm and my Masterpiece Gunbuster's left hand, I was able to turn Generation 1 bombshell from this to this.
Megatron. Nobody summons Megatron. You have nothing to fear. I have already crushed Optimus Prime with my bare hands.
Currently, there is no accurate G1 Galvatron figure available, and given the way the 1986 Galvatron figure looked, it didn't feel right transforming Masterpiece Megatron into this piece of junk. So I figured the only way I can get by is if I was to custom make my own. While scouting eBay for figures, I happened to see the Energon series Megatron. Given its slight resemblance, I figured I'd purchase it immediately. Once I got it, I removed the wings and cannons and realized that it smelled of dog, body odor, and cigarettes. I ended up hand-washing it with soap and water before I stripped it of its paint. After priming and hours of painting, I got this. Using Citadel paints, I was able to give it a nice coat of purple and gray, and gave it a little bit of dry brushing to give it the detail I was looking for. The next task was to fill in the shoulders, give him his back fin and his cannon mount. Around the same time, I actually purchased a variety of custom Galvatrons on eBay. Although they look great, none of them actually fit the cut, and unfortunately I was not able to use any of them in my films.
Gorge, the tracker, and his huntsman, the sweeps.
The next step I took after mindlessly cropping thousands of photos, I combined 2D animation with stop-motion animation, using nothing but my trackpad on my MacBook Pro way before I got my art tablet. All the animation that you have seen in this film was drawn frame by frame, using nothing but the trackpad. What you are seeing is the third and final product of the morphing scene, since my hard drive had crashed twice.
Cyclonus, the warrior. Cyclonus, the warrior.
Drawing the internals was a very challenging task. It took hours, of course, but it was rewarding at the end to look at it side by side. Drawing Megatron's internal schematics was the hardest. I had to pre-plan this, and it probably took me about over a month to draw it, not to mention using the trackpad, so I was only using my thumb to hold down the click button and my middle finger to draw on the trackpad. Hours and hours of work, and of course during the hard drive crash, I had to do it all over again. I think I enjoyed the first version more than this one. Using After Effects, I was able to work in layers, combining a variety of pre-animated objects, and then I was able to add in Galvatron's customized ship, which was a combination of Shockwave's muzzle and Megatron's gun. Using Photoshop, I stretched out the wings, and then added a variety of modified Shockwave muzzles to create the remaining hull of the ship. Taking a still image of Galvatron and shrinking it down, I put him at the very top of the ship, did some color corrections, added more muzzles for the bottom, and then a blotch of white to simulate engine blast. For Unicron's lighting effect, I added a black dot right where the opening was, and then for lighting I added a whitish yellow gradient, and then changed the opacity levels to give me the pulsating look I was hoping for. The light beam was a combination of a few translucent strips of light, and then a larger one of white and yellow. Animating it together, I got this.